grand rising, grand afternoon, grand evening, grand day, grand life, all that. You know what I'm saying? Good morning if you out here morning. And whatever you need. This is a diagram of universal wave principle. And this is something I came up with that was shown to me, and I want to show y'all existence. Let me give y'all an up close look before I get into explaining it so you can understand what I'm doing. Up close understanding. Okay, and I'm going to explain this principle to you. Okay, and wave principle, each wave, and you heard me speak about this in most of my bills, each wave is an existence. And if we can particularly look at understanding how waves work in the ocean and how the existences work from the coalesce of each wave pulse. This is why if you're looking down on the universe like this, it kind of waves out like this. And on each wave or whip, there's a potential space for life in universe. I mean, a life in that universe. I'm sorry. So the waves, this is like the closer you are to the center of it, you get stronger. You get stronger infinity. What is infinity? Infinity is forever energy. That energy, and that energy has to propagate life of that concept. So within two cycles, there is a connection of infinity. But the farther away you get, that infinity stretches to solidify the life in two waves. So the closer you are, infinity kind of solidifies in one wave. So you have the farther away, closer to the center of the universe is where you're going to have stronger beings of an understanding that's not perplexed to our understanding. So as you come closer, the infinity chain, it breaks and changes in different ways, but it doesn't lessen that energy. It's only because it doesn't need it. This is sustained by its own infinity. This is a partial infinity, but it's also connected to the etheric river. There's an etheric river that runs in between it that helps sustain the life. This is where the energy comes from because it goes through is what created the actual woman itself. So as the etheric river is constantly still flowing, you have two parts, the left and right. It's almost like if the etheric river was the divine, the left and right parts of existence, the waves that are coming off it will be the guards of that, and they both are connected with infinity in between there too, but they're also connected to the etheric river. Left and right flow, very powerful, almost like guards. the defined etheric river is what sustains all the life. It's actually, it has another connection to it too, and I'm gonna get to that later on in this bill. But as we go down and we get farther away from, as the waves come off and they're pulsing down, you start to expand the infinity. So you have the second class and the first class, and then it separates into smaller aspects. Now, if I was to show you this ratio, on like waves coming off the water, you would see the big waves out and it looks darker as you look down into the ocean. But it's a hill kind of, right? It's like the ground has become a hill because the water pushes upward. So now the waves that are pushing upward because of the sediment that's pushed, they break right there. They break, and then they break and they leave. It's like shallow water right there, and it breaks and it goes up on the surface and it leaves whatever that is carrying right there, and then it goes back into the deep. Well, this understanding in itself, potentially, the deeper the water is, or the deeper out in the waves, you have more of the option for solidifying what life could be, right? So where we speak to the value of original creation, this is a class, this is a growing facility, this is a place where energy produces, but then also the creation aspect separates. It separates by whatever circumstance may come into play, whether somebody does it, or we got to keep in mind, even with people's actions that take place, these are retrospects from the universe depending on what physical body can be inhabited by these particular energies. So when we look at certain levels of detrimental aspect when it comes to creation, we got to understand there's nobody fortuitive enough to just think in creational aspect. But the waves, the way the waves push off, they push off so far to where it has residual energy to where it's going to keep replicating in its own until it gets to its farthest extent. This is the reason for the divine energy filling up a whole universal aspect until it has to collapse on itself. Now, when it gets to the shore and it gets to and it gets to where the tides start to break, the false creations, these are what we call subhumans, you know what I'm saying? But found in their true ways, they may be able to flow back to the etheric river and be and after the subhumans, they're animals. The animals are connected to the etheric river naturally. So like even if in celestial aspect, things that look like monsters or giants in the celestial understanding, they are like counterparts to animals that we deal with every day. But animals are the lowest species because they are connected to the etheric river in a whole nother way other than advanced beings as ourselves being going through classes. So between animals, there's subhumans, and then you have an infinity lake. The infinity lake is the first class of divine. So you have where the golden light is attaching to the two parts of these two waves. So these two waves right here, on one part you have a higher level of golden energy, and on this part we have a receiving level of golden energy. This would be this first part right here would be this would be original beings on this earth. This would be people of color. This would be people who are spiritual. This is all tapped into that value. This is why you see it half gold and half no color. You know what I'm saying? Like this would be the people of the sun. Now this would be the actual energy that perplexes everybody in divine concept to where you would say is deifying. This is where you start looking at some aspect. And that's where I cut it. Cut it, yeah, cut it. Because you can go over to Patreon and sign up right now for $7.77 a month and get all the exclusive that I be doing when I put the work in and talking about them downloads, them real downloads, and it's deep. Because it's like an 18, 19, 20-minute joint. So right now, y'all get these 7 minutes of jewels and go over to Patreon. Link is in the description. You already know the vibes. NAGA. Deuce.